welcome back to the Broken Strength podcast. I am your host, Karen, and I feel like I never say my name anytime I do an intro, but we're on episode 16. And I know this is a little bit late for this week because I was traveling last week and I just didn't have the time to record, but I wanted to give you guys an update on my prep. And the reason I want to do that is because of the fact that it kind of took a turn, and not like in a bad way necessarily, just more so my not my mindset, but like my mental health really took like a toll for like a few days. And I want to just kind of explain like what's going on, where I'm at, because I wanted to do prep podcast, but because I've been filming the YouTube and trying to do weekly again, it's just been too much. So we're going to do like a monthly recap on here, and then if you want to see the weekly ones, it's all on my YouTube. But for now, we're going to just do a monthly, because we're Tuesday on week 5, so I can give you like the first 4-week kind of update here. If you're watching this on YouTube, sorry with how much I'm going to be adjusting the headphones in my hair, because it's driving me nuts right now. But we're on week 5, guys, so I've done 4 weeks, which means there's only 8 weeks left, which actually kind of like a little bit less than 8 weeks because it's Tuesday. So 7 weeks and like 5 days? Is that what it is? 4 days? 5 days? I don't know. But we're close. But I've been tracking, like I said, everything on YouTube for if you want to see like the weekly kind of playouts of it all. But like, man, oh man, this past like week has been a little bit hectic and very hard on me mentally. But when I've done preps in the past, I knew that like the time that I actually made it to the stage, I would be like mentally and physically ready for it. Now, I'm not saying like I haven't mentally like struggled or I won't struggle throughout this one, but just because like I'm mentally ready. What I mean by that is that I know like now I can get through the hard times versus how it was before. So back, like, it's been about 2 years since my last like prep attempt outside of this one, so I've actually done 4 preps, and this is the 5th one, and this will be the one that I actually get to the stage side of things. It's a lot of preps to actually never hit the stage, but I mean, I feel like I have a good understanding of like what I'm getting myself into, if that makes sense. So that's where like why I knew when I'd be mentally and physically ready. So what I mean by like mentally is, before, it's like let's just go back to like my very first prep ever when I was 19 years old. I would literally drive past like Cinnaholic or a fast food place, and I would just start crying because I was like, oh, I can't have that. And the way my prep was like I was eating like 4,000 to 4,500 calories a day when I was like just starting that prep. But I also had no idea what I was doing with my nutrition on my own. And when I went into this gym one day, this coach was like, are you a bikini competitor? And I was like, no. I'm like, I eat so much food. And he was like, you need to be. So I was like, okay, let's do it. I think it lasted like a month. And he cut my calories. Like the first meal plan that I was given was 1,600 calories from 4,500. Like that was a huge drop. So I was miserable. I was sad. I was not okay. And I would cry over food. So that prep ended because I knew mentally, like it wasn't the time, because it was going to put me in a worse spot when I had just spent so many years trying to get out of a bad spot mentally, because I was only 19. So like when all this stuff happened to me in high school, when I got bullied, I was only 16. So it hadn't been that long, and I was finally starting to feel pretty good. So that prep ended for that reason. But then the last 3 all were because of COVID. So I started a prep, and then all the gyms shut down. So I was like, you know what? Like the show hadn't been canceled, because like everything shut down in like March or something like that, or early in the year. And the show wasn't until July maybe. And so they hadn't canceled it. So I was like, cool. Like I'll just keep prepping. Like I had nothing else to do. I literally would just like eat, sleep, work out, and that was it, because like I couldn't go anywhere. So I did everything in my apartment. I literally did banded workouts. I went for massive walks and did the stair climbs like through the river valleys. And it was fine, and then that show got canceled, and I was like, you know what, like, we'll try it again in the fall, because all those shows were getting pushed to, like, later in the year, just with hopes that, like, things would calm down and we could still do the shows. But then later that year, so I went kind of back into a reverse diet, stayed with my coach and everything, and I was still going. And then later that year, the show that I was going to do, I should have done it. And like, this is something like, I don't want to regret anything that I do in my life, because like everything happens for a reason. And I feel like now when I look back, like, yeah, I wasn't ready for that whatsoever, like mentally, but it would have been like one of the best shows that I could have done, because of the fact with everything getting canceled and postponed and pushed and everything. It was one of those shows where you didn't have to qualify for going for your pro card, if that makes sense. So I could have like went for it right away. I think that's how it was. There was 2 shows like back to back, but I didn't have to actually qualify, I think. And that was when they were giving away like multiple pro cards. Like it was like first, second, and third or something like that. It was like the weirdest year ever for like competing. But I was supposed to do that, and then all of a sudden I was like, I can't live in Alberta. I'm done. I'm moving to BC. I ended up moving, which would have been my actual peak week, which I'm so glad, like, when I think back to it, like, yeah, it would have been a really good time to compete, but at the same time, trying to do a peak week when you're moving away from your entire family and you have nobody there, I was an emotional mess. I was not okay. So that one, I was like, you know what, like, let's just go back into reverse, because I was trying to prep for it, and I'm like, let's just try it again later. So I got all settled in Kelowna. I was feeling good. Literally all I did was I worked at home, because I'm an online fitness coach. And so that was when I started doing that like full time. So it's like all I could do was like work on myself. So mentally I was feeling good. I was like in my happy place. I finally moved to the place of my dreams, and I was like, this is amazing. And then the BC Cup was the next one that was going to pop up with like enough time frame to prep. So I like messaged her. I was like, let's do this one. I think I was again like a month or 2 in, and it got canceled because of COVID. And so I was like, you know what, like, I'm done. So that was my 4th prep during that one. So all like the 3 after, when I was like 19, those 3 all happened within like a 1-year span. And it was like prep, reverse, and I was like, I am done. So I went on my own, and I was like doing my own training, nutrition, and just living my best life. So over the past 2 years, I haven't done much for like the prep side, or like been super strict with what I've been doing. But that is how I knew this time, like, that I was mentally and physically ready, because I always made a promise to myself where it's like, I obviously would know when I'm mentally ready. Like, I know now, like, that I can get through if I have like a hard time. Or like this past weekend where it was like, or week when I was traveling, I was so overwhelmed. I had a couple off meals, and it's like, back in the day when I would have an off meal, it was something, first of all, I would never tell the coach about, which was bad, because you want to own up to things like that, because even if you do something that's not necessarily like good for like your plan, if you say what you did to your coach and own up to it, it makes it a lot easier to not do it again or keep doing it. So like when you open up like, hey, like, I messed up, I had all these different things, they're like, they understand why your check-in might be weird, they understand where you're at, and it gets that guilt off, because sometimes when we start to get that guilt is when we go into those downward spirals. So I told them about it, I did my check-in, my weight literally didn't change, I looked fine. Like, it's not like I put on like 10 pounds of like random stuff. I didn't eat necessarily bad. If you hear me like randomly like hiccup or even burp, it's because I was drinking Coca-Cola Zero, because it's literally the saving grace of this prep right now. But I literally, like, I ate like Thai bites from Boston Pizza, like 5 of them, because Tanner and I were so hungry and we couldn't get back to the hotel right away, and everybody was going for dinner, and I was like, we'll just split it, because it was like protein and like little bits of carbs and fats. Like, it wasn't like eating like a pasta or a pizza, so it wasn't as bad. And then it was like homemade bread from my grandma, and then literally the other thing we had was like steak and potatoes, and I ate that instead of my final meal of the day. So it's not like we went like overboard. Like, I wasn't eating thousands of more like calories per day. It was just little things like that. And I'm honestly so freaking proud of myself for how well I did on that trip, because of the fact that I have been in these positions in my past with doing preps, and I failed so hard. So I knew that like mentally I could take on this prep, especially for reasons like that. And then physically, what I mean by being physically ready was like, I wanted, if you look at my Instagram, my last transformation post of myself that I shared, where it's like me posing, like I have my posing heels on in both of them, but it's like normal like underwear type one, and then my actual posing suit, that one, it was from like March or January, early in the year. So I had that picture and I was like, nope, still not physically ready. And what I meant by that was like, I wanted to take a photo in a prep pose and be like, I could probably step on stage and still place or like do pretty good without actually prepping. That's where I wanted to be physically. And I got to that point. I sent my photos to the coach that I wanted to work with. And I was like, you think we can do this in like less than 12 weeks? I was like, I don't want to do a 16-week. I didn't want to do anything long prep-wise because I've done so many of those. I'm like, I want to get this like quick done. I'm like, I don't want to be doing this forever. Competing is not like my like life goal, if that makes sense. But the thing is, like, I don't care for like that bodybuilding lifestyle, like prep lifestyle. I love bodybuilding, like I love transforming my body, I love being healthy, lifting heavy, but like the competition side and like going like on like in what is it called? Like off season, on season, whatever, back and forth. Like I don't care for that. I wanna prep because of the fact that it's on my goal board to do a show before I turn 25, and I've mentioned this before, like this show is literally the day before my birthday. And I'm like, I can do it, check it off my list. I did talk to my coach about doing a pro show to get the pro card. But here's like, the thing is like, because I don't care that much about like the prep life and like actually competing, I'm a little back and forth on like whether I want to do it, to be honest. And I think it'd be really, really cool to check that off and like get a pro card from it. But like originally it was just like a one and done, like I'm gonna compete once, I just wanted to walk the stage, I don't care how I place, like I just want to do it because it's something I set as a goal for myself. And then I kept seeing like people posting like winning their pro cards, and I started thinking like, cool, that'd be like sweet to do one day. So then I asked my coach, I was like, hey, what do I need to qualify to be able to go to do a show to go towards the pro card? And he was literally like, you have to place top 3 or win, like in the top 3 at least. And I was like, cool, let's do it. And so he's like, cool, we're on the same page. Now I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. And so it's mainly because like after last week, it was really hard trying to do other things. Obviously preps are not that long in your life, but at the same time, it was like, I just like being able to have that balanced, healthy lifestyle. And right now it's like not balanced whatsoever. It's very like healthy and like strict. But it's something I'm still on edge about. And I feel like I'll explain it a little bit more, but prep like has a lot of ups and downs, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who goes back and forth with how they're feeling, what they want to do, how many shows they want to do, etc. Like I'm sure we all go through that, but just because like this week I don't want to do any more after this one doesn't mean that I necessarily won't. And I think for me it's like I have to get to that end point. So like I have to actually go and get to the stage, walk across the stage, do my routine, feel like go through the whole process and know what it feels like and how I feel during, to know if it's something for me or if it's something I'll do again. But I think it would be pretty cool to like have your pro card and know that like I accomplished that. But I also don't know how long that could take or like what I would need to do to get there, since I've never even done a show in the first place. I don't know who's competing with me or against me or whatever it is. So like you never know what the outcome of your show is going to be. Like you could be looking 12 out of 10 amazing, go compete in one show, win first place, and then you go compete in another show and there's so many other people and you get like last place. Like it's so hit or miss, and I've seen this happen to a few people lately where it's like you do so good and then you go to another show and you do not the best. And I don't know what it would be. Like, obviously, I want to just do, like, the one show. I don't necessarily care. Like, it'd be cool to win. Like, obviously, like, don't get me wrong. Like, everybody wants to win. But, like, for me, I'm not going to be heartbroken or devastated or mad at myself if I don't. I just want to get to the point of walking across that stage. And I don't know what it would be like to do the pro shows after. So, like, I don't know if, like, I could do really well at this show, and then I go to the pro card show and I don't do like well at all. So like you never know. But then I also like could not place well at this show, which means I would have to do another show to qualify, which then again is more shows on top of that. Like I am so back and forth. So there's a lot of like thoughts running through my mind and a lot of unsure moments currently. But the only thing that I am like sure of is that I'm going to step on the stage on October 1st. And no matter what happens, how I place, whatever it is, I'll be so, so proud of myself for just checking this off my goal list the day before I turn 25, like I always dreamt I would. So I know for one thing I will be happy, but I have no idea what the future holds within this world for me because of the fact that I'm not necessarily like obsessed with like the like competing lifestyle. But I mean, everybody has their own thing. Like I never know. Like if I do this, I might be like, wow, that was an amazing rush, like an adrenaline rush. I'm ready to do it again. My one client, she just competed in July, I believe it was, and it was a learning process for both of us. But when she was done her show, she's like, I want to do another one. She's like, that was like the best feeling ever. So like, I don't know if that's gonna happen to me. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be something that I'm like, whoa, that was really cool. Let's keep doing it. So for now, it's just October 1st, and possibly if I do place and qualify for the pro show, we'll see if that happens and if I want to do that because it's not until like the following year in like August or something. So there's other like time frames around all that, but I just wanted to kind of share like how the journey has been going so far because I feel like everybody has different experiences, but at the same time, like everybody struggles and has their like down moments and off moments during these situations. And overall, like it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of discipline to go through it. Like even for my family when we were on our trip, like they were like, I couldn't do that. And obviously I wasn't perfect, but I was still so proud of myself for how like majority of it I was focused on eating my proper foods. Like I literally brought a hot plate to the hotel so I could cook my eggs in the morning. I brought all of my meals, every single ingredient, snack thing, all prepped into its own little containers, measured out so I didn't even have to think about it. But it's a lot of discipline, which I'm okay with, and I love that I'm challenging myself mentally, and I think that's really cool, but I don't know if it's something I'm going to do long term. So that's kind of mindset wise where I'm at right now. But when I started my prep, the cardio was a lot higher than I expected. Like I've done preps before where it was like I was doing 200 calories burned for like 4 times a week when I started, but he started me at like 6 times a week doing 400 calories. It was so much more than I expected. I was like, holy crap, because I don't do cardio ever. So it took a while to get used to that. And then the food was good at the beginning. Like I had a lot of food, so I never had any really like hunger moments, so I was perfectly fine. But then after like a couple weeks, like the food went down a little bit, not like a lot. And then cardio was still the same, so I wasn't feeling like horrible, but I was slightly a little more hungry. And then I went on the trip, and things got a little bit harder. So I had my couple off meals, like I mentioned, which, like I said, I'm still proud of myself for like not going overboard like I could have. But there's so many moments where like I could have ate so much more food when I was there, or bad food, or caved when I'm super hungry and we were out and about for the days. But I brought all my food for the most part, except for those like couple off moments. But the things that I did have weren't bad foods. Like it was literally like homemade bread or home like barbecued steak and like garden potatoes and things like that. So like it wasn't that bad, and it was just wasn't exactly the food that I had planned. But it could have been worse. And so like an example would kind of be like when I had something different, like I would substitute like part of my plan for it, if that makes sense. So, like I didn't exactly like go through and match the macros for it. But like on Friday night was when we had like our big family dinner with the steak and potatoes and stuff. And so I had like up to my fourth meal, which was like my yogurt thing, and then I had one more meal at the end of the day. So I ate up till my fourth meal, and that's when I was like, you know what, I'm going to have my steak, I'm going to have some potatoes, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to get back on track the next day. And I just had that, and I didn't have my actual fifth meal at the end of the day, so it wasn't like I went overboard. Like I definitely had more carbs than I should have, because of the fact that I had potatoes and my last meal doesn't actually have carbs in it. But I tried my best to balance it, but I still, like, at the same time can't believe like how on track I was throughout it, because that's just something that like I would have never done in the past. I am the type of person that like goes ham on vacations and just lives it up, eating whatever I want because I'm healthy at home and I like the balance of being able to enjoy. So it was kind of cool to even just see my mindset change like this trip, even though it wasn't perfect. It was still kind of a cool experience to see that switch of being like, you know what, like I could go and eat everything and anything, but I have a goal that like I'm gonna actually try to work towards and stick with better. And I did really good for like how things have gone in my past. So the first 4 weeks of prep have been up and down. I feel feel pretty good. Today was probably the roughest, like for cardio wise. So yesterday I was so hungry that I literally had to brush my teeth and get into bed so I would stop thinking about food and like trying to eat. I was like, what can I eat? What can I eat? When I didn't have anything off my plan, but I was just like, well, I need food. So I had to brush my teeth so I like had a reason to not eat. And then I was like, I'm going to bed early because I was like, I couldn't handle it. Today I did a little bit better. So I actually fasted, or didn't fast, but like I did my cardio fasted. So I did like 400 calories of cardio without eating. And so when I came home, I ate, and then I did a little bit of work, and then I ate, or I went to the gym. I did 100 calories. I did my workout, and then I did another 100 calories. I had to do cardio 3 times today because I literally just didn't want to do it, and I was mentally struggling to get through it. But I did it. So I got all 600 done. I did my workout. I actually filmed another workout on top of mine, just doing like little show, like clips for it. So it's not actually like a full workout that I did, but I wanted to be able to give you guys something to have for like workout Wednesdays on my Instagram and TikTok and everything. So I did actually film that. And when I came home, I was so hungry. I ate my entire lunch. Like not even a single like seasoning crumb was left. I was so hungry. But today was a little bit better for like the food side, like with eating after my cardio, because I find if I eat before, I just like burn right through it and I'm hungry right after. So today's probably like the worst day for like the cardio side. Like I was struggling, but I had a really, really good workout and I felt really good overall. But then just the cardio was kind of my off thing. But this is also the first week that it's been at 600 calories. And I'm really scared that like, I don't know how high it's going to get. I've never done more than 500 calories like in a prep. And we're starting with like 6. Like we still have like 7.5 weeks left. This could be very interesting, and I might be a little cranky, but like I said, the whole plan originally was just one and done show. It might still be like that. I'm just gonna go with the flow, see how I feel. I don't know if I really like restricting my life this much for preps. So right now, like I'm going, like obviously going to do it, but I don't know if it's something that I just want to continuously do just for like the mental health side of things. But we'll see how I feel when I get to the show. But overall, like, not bad. I'm really, really glad that I did start this, like, later because I didn't even have a full 12 weeks. Like, I, like, messaged him to talk about it when it was, like, exactly 12 weeks out. So I don't think we actually started until just under 11 weeks. So overall, like, it's not that long of a prep. Like, I'm gonna survive. But for now, I'm, like, a little up and down if it's gonna be something I do again. But I guess it could just also be, like, how I place. Like, you never know, like, I might, if I don't do well, then I'll probably not do another one, but not because, like, I'm, like, mad at myself, just because it's, like, it's just because I wanted to do one. But if I do well, and I have that qualification to go to a pro show, like, that's another, like, incentive to do another one. Just for, like, doing it, because I have that chance to do something like that, if that makes sense. So, like, I don't know, I have to actually get to the stage, hit the point of, like, awards and whatever, I don't even know what it's called. Is it awards? Whatever they're called. I have to get to that point and see where I place to understand if I'm going to do it again or not. But I feel good. Like, I'm tired. Like, today I'm probably going to take a nap because I actually, like, I got a really good sleep last night. I actually fell asleep early because I was so hungry, and I was like, I need to just sleep so I can wake up in the morning and eat again. But I might take a nap today, and I'm just trying to, like, postpone my meals throughout the day so I don't eat all of them super early, so I'm not super hungry at night. But I'm going to probably go to bed super early as well. But perhaps a lot. I wanted to be mentally, physically ready for it, and I definitely am, / was when I started. So I think it's going to be, there's obviously going to be some ups and downs and some struggles, but I think this will be the best experience that I've had, just for the fact that, like, I know that I can do it, even if it gets really hard. So it's my little recap. Like I said, if you want to see the weekly ones, go check out the YouTube. And all of them are very obvious to find on my page because they all have, like, basically the same exact thumbnail, just different photos and, like, updates for each week. But so far there is 4 up there, so have a look, leave some comments, chit chat with me, and we can talk about anything, or if you have any questions, always let me know. But other than that, I'll try to do, like, monthly recaps on here for different episodes to add in and just kind of give you, like, a rundown of, like, how everything went. So that way, if you don't want to watch the YouTube videos, you don't necessarily have to. But I feel good. I feel like that's the best way to explain it. I just feel good right now. I feel a little bit overwhelmed at times and definitely a little snappy, but it's very, very nice having Tanner doing it too, because we both understand, like, if one person snaps, that it's not to actually, like, getting a phone call. It's not necessarily, like, personal, if that makes sense. We just are, we're like, yeah, got it. But I feel good. That's all. I just filmed this entire thing for YouTube as well and realized I never turned on a single one of my ring lights. Like, they're all set up, but I just didn't turn them on. So, wow. That's how my prep brain is right now. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 16, and I will see you guys probably next Monday morning. We'll get back to normal Mondays for podcast uploads. Just this week, like I said, it was a little bit hectic, but I'll see you guys bright and early Monday morning for our next episode.